Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome. Hello, good night. How are you? And welcome to the Miami Heat Beat Postgame Show. Happy National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. And so you have me, Siobhan, here with, to my left, we have the intern, not in jail because G is not on the show. Pablo, how does it feel to be a free man?
It's great, man. Thank you, chat, for all the commentary, all the free calls I got.
Chat was great. Very Pablo. And to my left, I guess looking at the screen to my right, hello, Jaculus. Welcome back. Love you. Miss having you on. How are you?
I'm good. I'm back, just like the Miami Heat.
Oh, so back. Love that.
Back. Only a little bit back.
Kind of back.
I'll be gone tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm here, but I'm not here. Like, don't count on. Pencil me in. You know? So yeah, Jack, haven't had you on in a while. Kind of, wanting to get your thoughts on a few things and talk about tonight's game. So one of the biggest things for me over the course of the last, chunk of game, and maybe I have a little bit of a time stamp and even one before to where, some tweaks kind of have been made. But how have you felt about the recent lineup adjustments? Have you noticed any of the recent lineup adjustments? What are your pros and cons about them? Just how have you felt about the rotations we saw tonight? And, kind of like I said, a little bit that we've seen over the course of the last couple of games.
Yeah, I thought the rotations were interesting. And I guess Bam getting into pretty early foul trouble changes the math on some things.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm just always interested to see some of the lineups they're using Terry in. I wouldn't have thought they were super willing to do like Terry, Tyler, and then neither Jimmy nor Bam. Those are interesting, and I don't know if those work, but it's kind of a weird night because Tyler was really good and Terry was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't really have a hard judgment on that kind of thing. It's just interesting because the jury's still very much out on Terry, and I really don't know what to make of the last stretch of
Fair.
But I'm somewhat encouraged, and I'm encouraged that they have three players playing well at the same time, and that allows them to mess with the lineups a little bit because, on a night where you have Jimmy and Bam playing well and no Tyler, you're having long periods of just huge offensive lulls, and it's nice to see him do well, especially with them off the court.
Yeah. Pablo, how did you feel about tonight? We've talked a little bit, yesterday about some of the lineup changes. What did you think about tonight?
I think that starting with Terry, he's still looking for his role on offense. Yeah, I think he's shot bad, but he still impacts the game when he's out there with them. Hero's been playing great. And then bringing in Caleb starting has given the team a different dynamic. It's something we've seen before. When Haywood starts, it's a lot more. I feel like a lot more ISO. Today there was a lot of high pick and roll with Bam. Hero absolutely played really good with Bam. Something we haven't seen. We've been seeing for the past couple of games, but usually we don't see that. And I just think with the rotations, everyone's playing their role. It looks like Miami Heat basketball. Everyone's doing what their role is, and the offense is thriving because of it.
Yeah. Jack, we talked, like I said, we've been talking a little bit about it. And so since the Terry acquisition, it was very clearly going to be some, not wanting to step on anyone's toes, trying to kind of get in, see how I fit in, how I can get to what it is that I do, while also, highlighting what it is that you guys do here. It's come from a pretty lackluster and an organization that didn't have any expectations, and has spoken highly about, I respect this group and what you all do. So, really coming in, not trying to step on anyone's toes. right? And now you're a few games into it now. What is this, like his sixth, maybe fifth game with the group? And you have, is it okay? Okay.
Yeah.
And you have Jimmy, very vocal about, hey, I'll be the one to kind of make sure everyone kind of gets their touches. We need you to kind of, do your thing. And in that, there are a couple of conflicting schools of thought. Well, him doing his thing is kind of similar to Tyler doing his thing. And they're not quite the exact same, but there's a decent amount of overlap. Can it work? Can it mesh? Have we seen a large enough chunk of Bam, Tyler, and Jimmy, functioning well enough within their roles in a way that allows them to, stretch it and get to as complete of the scope of things that they do well, but while, partnered and while on the floor with, the other two. And I feel like over, especially tonight and, the last game, Spo's lineups have created a bit of space for the tandem of kind of Tyler and Bam to do their pick and roll thing. And then for Jimmy with the bench to do we're going to play out of the extended post. We're going to play out of the short wing and, kind of do some of those things. John Jablanca in the Heat Beat chat has a graph from PNB stats that just like literally just kind of shows the minutes and where they do and don't overlap. And I wish I had thought to, this was from last game. I wish I had thought to get it to Pablo a little bit sooner. I'd be super interested in what tonight's looked like, but it's, Jimmy's the first sub out. Jaime's the first sub in. Jaime finishes the first quarter kind of with the remaining five. And then Jimmy kind of comes back with the rest of the bench. Tyler and Bam exit. Tonight, Terry came back in with like Duncan and Bam, and you kind of finally got some of the Duncan, Bam, Terry minutes that, I feel like a lot of people have been kind of clamoring for. And, long story short, I just feel like it's created a bit of breathing room for, the three-headed horsemen to more in a more carefree manner kind of go about the things that they need to do to help bring success to the collective. And I thought it's been really nice. And in that and with that, I feel like Tyler has been really solid since, I don't know, the film session, since Bam's all player meeting, just over the last kind of week of game. Maybe it's not his highest scoring stretch, but everything else to me feels more defined and more purposeful. Jack, how'd you feel about Tyler tonight? And then how'd you feel about Tyler, yesterday and again, kind of over the last, 3, 4, 5 maybe games?
Yeah, I've liked him, and I guess particularly liked him tonight. He's hitting shots, so that's nice. He was doing some things he doesn't normally do. That's nice. I think when the Terry trade happened, people kind of rightfully pinpointed Tyler Terry as a pair immediately as like the wonkiest fit, both offensively and defensively.
Little head-butting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, specifically offensively, like their games aren't radically different in terms of what they want to do with the ball and where they want to be in relation to the ball. I think it's kind of still hard to tell about anything Terry right now because the balances are shifting so much. It's so clear he's looking for where his spots are within the rhythm of the offense and like when he needs to ISO, when he needs to be like, I'll bend the defense, distribute, etc. But I think just his presence like takes a lot of pressure off Tyler, and the question's just kind of, is Tyler going to accept and like embrace what that allows him, even if it means like maybe taking away some of his other responsibilities. I think it means him scoring easier, which is nice. Somebody in the chat was talking about kind of Terry finding more lanes to the basket, finding Bam on the short fade to get him jump shots. That's kind of really where I'm trying to, like, that's what I'm looking at when I see Terry on offense, specifically with Bam on the floor, is how they're relating and how often Terry's looking for him kind of anytime he initiates, which I think, like, I would love that percentage to go up as much as possible because Tyler should, or Terry should really be like, I think ideally somebody who's there to open things up for Bam. But also with Jimmy, I think when Jimmy has a larger role, all of a sudden all these other guys make so much more sense, I think.
Yep.
Because the hierarchy goes into place more, because it's like Tyler's not a number one guy, but he can be your number 2 or 3 on any given night, and Bam, so on and so forth. And Terry, I think especially, like, because Jimmy is one of the few guys who like really, really pushes towards the rim. And now you suddenly have like a second guy on the floor who can also apply rim pressure, which is not super common in the Jimmy Heat era. And it's not like Goran, but it's like in a very sliver of a sense, kind of what they had with Goran.
In
just
what
in
way?
terms of like a guard who has any interest in being near the rim or like attacking a defense.
Jack, I saw a tweet today. It said, I hate to break it to you or something like that, but Terry is more K Nunn than he is Goran. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think he is maybe, but like Goran was really good, and Terry doesn't necessarily need to be Goran. He just needs to be somewhere in between Kanan and Goran. Like if he's Kanan, that's awful. But I think just like in a very obvious sense, like not even looking at like his past NBA tenure where he's proven that he's not Kanan, where he's like thrived on other teams.
Right.
And just looking at him day to day on the floor, I think just physically he transcends anything Kanan was as an athlete. And I think the shots are going to start falling, and that's going to be silly. I think if you look like at any part of the floor, Terry's better from there than Kanan was. Like not a particularly great 3-point shooter. Not that Terry is either, but like I would say markedly better. And I just think at like bending a defense, you know, as G always says, rather than like attacking a bent defense, Kanan wasn't like bending a defense. He was getting little middies here and there, and it was hyper inefficient. But I'm a Kanan hater, so like
I hate Kanan too.
Fair.
That was a rough offense.
Super fair. To your point about, you know, what he and Bam should kind of look like more, you know, I feel like that's why so much of or at least what I've seen a lot on Twitter is this clamoring, like I said, for Terry, Duncan, and Bam to spend more time together. Pablo, you have Duncan, who is, you know, Duncan's the gravity. Duncan, the pocket passes. If he's coming off the handoff, he either has a shot, he has the pocket pass. He seems to be one of the guys. Tyler too, but that's from a more state of like maneuverability off of the dribble. But just from pure kind of just sucking a defense, just vacuuming a defense kind of in behind me. You know, you have Duncan and Bam, and from Terry's athleticism and just his ability to probe and the herky jerkiness, but sometimes he can get into like the ISO herky jerk is like, okay, you know, kind of let's move it. But sometimes when he has, you know, an intent behind it, his start and stop is really effective in kind of the middle of the half court, and so you can get to the basket. And so, you know, there in itself feels like there's space for Terry, Bam to also kind of have, you know, like I said, some chemistry tonight. You know, aside from the shooting woes, Terry went 5 for 15, 2 for 7 from 3, 13 points, 5 assists. Right. So, you know, adding tonight into it, how have you felt, or what is it that you're looking for out of the Terry Bam combo, and you know, just how they move with each other on the floor, kind of regardless if it's Tyler out there with them, also Jimmy out there with, like, who else, you know, is there with them?
Because we saw last game how potent the pick and roll between Terry and Bam could be. Because Terry, I think yesterday was Terry's best game as a Heat. He was hitting his shots. He was using Bam in the pick and roll great. He was hitting his step backs. His shots just haven't been falling, but I think he gives great rim pressure off those screens. He's always looking to attack, but then when he draws 2, he can easily dish it down to Bam. Today, it was a little bit different because you have 7'5" Wembanyama in the paint. So, but when Wembanyama was out, if it was Hero abusing that pick and roll with Bam, I feel like it was that Terry was playing at the same time as Wembanyama. So today that pick and roll wasn't really as potent as it could be. But as they get more reps, as Terry gets more practice, because I think he's already had like 1 or 2 practices, if we're being honest.
Right. He probably still hasn't. The one that was supposed to be a practice, I think that ended up being the film session. So he really might not have still.
So like once he gets the reps in with Bam, I remember seeing there's a stat out there that said Terry is one of the best pick and roll players in the league. Once they get that chemistry together, that pick and roll between them two is going to be deadly.
Yeah. So then how to Tyler, right? So since like I said, the Terry acquisition for me we're going to touch on Jimmy, his performance tonight and kind of how he's looked, still since I feel like that players only meeting film session, I feel like collectively they've responded really, really well. But Tyler specifically, Pablo, I feel like I said to open, I feel like Tyler just feels much more kind of defined in what it is that he wants to do, what it is that he wants to get to. There feels to be like a lot less wasted motion, a lot, fewer wasted dribbles out of Tyler tonight. And just, not even tonight, like I said, in general. And tonight, awesome game tonight. 24 points, 10 of 15 shooting, 4 of 7 from 3, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Like Tyler had a beautifully solid game tonight. Does this feel doesn't feel sustainable? Because I would hope that your answer would be yes, but just, give me your thoughts about Tyler tonight, I guess.
I think his shot selection has been a lot better since the meeting. You don't see him
Where?
really.
In what ways? Go ahead.
So I don't see him shooting those dumb fadeaways instead of driving to the paint. Today he drove to the paint a lot more and he was finishing. I don't know if he still couldn't draw fouls, but he was still finishing over with a little bit of contact. He wasn't shooting a fadeaway instead of a layup. He was hitting his catch and shoot threes, as we've always said. He's very good at just catching and shooting from beyond the arc instead of taking those moving threes. He's playmaking. He's actively looking to pass. He's not passing off a double and then like getting a bailout. He was actively looking to set up Bam or set up someone else on the floor. And that's what we need from Hero. We don't need him to force shots. 10 of 15 probably isn't sustainable. That's really good shooting. But the shots he's taking, that's sustainable. Yeah. And that's what I love about Hero. That's what I loved about Hero today.
I agree. Jack, you talked about Jimmy and just the way that, when he's engaged, that he just stratifies the whole rest of the roster. There's no ambiguity. There's no, or if there is, it's a confident assertion within what everyone else kind of knows that their role, I guess, should be. And, since again, the film session, Jimmy came out and said, Caleb came out and said, what was said needed to be said, right? Bam said, we came away with some clarity. We came away, with an understanding, I guess, of what it is that we need from each other. Jimmy said that, the guys had basically told me, that I could be more involved, more aggressive, more, just kind of whatever word you want to use there. And Spo was asked about it and he just said, I agree. So, tonight, last game, I feel like since the Knicks game, Jimmy, you've been able to see an increase in his just engagement, his activity, his level of like spryness. He's kind of all over the floor today. I felt, for me personally, today was probably my favorite game of, the 3. Jimmy, Bam, Tyler. This felt like my favorite, most complete. We have a good grasp on what it is that we want to do type of game. For you today, how did, Jimmy, modest game, I guess you can call it modest, 17 points. He had triple double, 17 points, 5 of 12, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. Only shot 6 free throws. What is, not even what is it, but just the Jimmy being active, engaged, doing the Jimmy things, as we've seen, like I said, over the last few games tonight, with Tyler and Bam having higher scoring games. How did Jimmy feel most effective to you tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a few things. I think this is, to your point, the best, three-headed dragon game from them. It mostly because of Bam, I would say. But on Jimmy, which, they're directly related to each other, I think how Jimmy was helping tonight was different than how I guess he's traditionally helped. And I think you kind of see a glimpse of, he's a lot older than, he, even when he's playing well, I think he looks a little bit older. It's nice to see, I guess, him take defense seriously, which is important because I don't think this season he's always taken it seriously. Offensively, I think the big difference is just whether he's like just flat out involved in any way, shape, or form, because he's just not a player who can kind of sit in the corner and hang out, which he, by his right, has been doing. I think that just breaks the offense, because if he's doing that, you don't have to pay attention to him at all, which is very much unlike a lot of NBA players, and especially a lot of NBA stars who can kind of maybe take plays and stretches off more easily. But defensively, I think everything kind of flowed from there. He was being just a troll with the steals. I think just in general, he was a lot more active in terms of like drawing that push off and just like, kind of getting all up in the muck. And I think with that, it allows him to push more. He'll have the ball in transition more. And that's where I think he like works really well as a distributor. And I think we kind of saw that. When his ball is in the hand, when the ball is in his hands and he's running down the floor, I just think it changes the shape of the defense in a way that like not another player does. And it also helps because, I don't know, our best play in my mind is like Jimmy Bam PNRs, or like just anything where Jimmy is looking for Bam, because I think Jimmy's an exceptional passer, and Bam, I think, is a much better like roller and a much better like off ball like shot creator than maybe we've seen in the past, because we traditionally haven't had people to get the ball to him. So I just think in general, it doesn't feel like Jimmy's overpassing as sometimes he has in the past. Like maybe you look at like an 11 assist night. Was it 10 assists or 11 assists?
11.
11 assist night. And maybe you say like, oh, Jimmy's doing that thing where he goes at the rim and then swings it out to a 3-point shooter for no reason. And the 3-point shooter is somebody who shoots like 32% from three. He wasn't doing that. I just felt like he was involved, even if I don't know if like his usage would look like super high from tonight. I just felt like he was moving a little bit more on both ends, and that just like makes the offense feel a little bit more kinetic.
You're talking about, his early season proclivity to just kind of kick it in the corner and just like, y'all got it. Tyler Bams, this is gonna be y'all shit for 2 years. You do the things.
Not even looking at the basket.
Yeah, just like very much like, no, girl.
He just posted up there. He's just chilling there.
Hands in his pockets. Just
bad bitch posing on the floor. But since again, whatever the fuck happened in that players meeting, but just we're in February now, it's ramp up time anyway. Approaching All-Star break, it's Jimmy, knocking Tiff. Tiff had a great analogy. She said Jimmy is like, that classic car that you just have stowed away kind of in your garage. You don't drive her much, but like, she's there for you. But when you go to start it up, you got to give her time. You got to let it warm up, treat it right. But in the meantime, you're going to have to ride that minivan. Like the family car is going to have to get some usage, Bam and Tyler, while we let, the old school caddy kind of warm up. So, but now, right. So you're seeing him kind of in the corner. And I think all of the season though, he's been willing to shoot the three. What feels like he feels much more willing to shoot it than we have seen him before. Or maybe, that could just be my perception or my observations of it. But with regards to just his activity, just his energy level, yeah, when Jimmy feels, there, very obvious to state, but when Jimmy is alive and going, you just see kind of everything else kind of sort itself out. And you're talking about Jimmy Van pick and rolls. Uh Jimmy is the most I'm gonna reject this screen possible. Like I've been tweeting about it for a while. Jimmy will call the screen up, give you a fake off of it, and just he's rejecting it baseline. If you send him like a sideline pick and roll, sending him baseline, he's gonna reject it to the middle. And I'm like, Jimmy, what are we trying to accomplish here? Because in the Clippers game, he rejected the screen thinking he was gonna get like Kawhi and James Harden to bite on him so that he had to dump off to Bam, and it didn't happen. Like James just split the middle beautifully. I'm like, Jimmy, what are we trying to accomplish here? But just like even in that, I don't know, just his involvement period feels very,
His
very
process.
relieving. His process, yeah. I'm gonna come to you in a second, Pablo. Jack, you mentioned something, someone that I want to make sure we get, a lot of love to. You said tonight felt like, probably the most complete three-headed game for you, and that was mostly because of Bam. What did you see out of Bam tonight? Why do you feel like he was the straw that stirred, the three-headed juice?
I'm gonna invoke Alf here because I think more and more
this could go so many ways.
more and more I think I've come around to Bam is skating. Like every time I tune into these post games, and it's not y'all, like y'all hold Bam accountable or whatever, but I think in general people are hesitant to criticize Bam. I think this year, maybe because he's gotten a lot of unfair criticism in the past. I'm a huge Bam fan. I love Bam. He's my favorite player. I just think he's been so annoying. Like recently, coming back from injury, and like I really can't say how he's feeling or whatever. But he's been slumping pretty hard in a way that he really can't do if he wants to be the guy who everybody thinks he is, and he attests to wanting to be and whatever. And it's just the oldest, like most hack thing in the book from a Heat fan, but it's like it's nice to see him be aggressive. Yeah. And like I feel like early in the season, and it was largely because Jimmy was chilling, and he was maybe healthier and whatever. Bam had an attitude about the way he approached offense, that was very different than I'd seen from him before. And if the shot was going off the back rim a couple times in a row, he would like
adjust,
really put his shoulder down, adjust in like a really aggressive way where he wouldn't be like, okay, now I'm going to do like DHOs for the rest of the game and just kind of like step back. He would be like, no, I'm a good enough offensive player, a good enough scorer in particular to be like, if I'm not getting my shots here, I should still be looking for my shot in general. And me going for 0 for 2, 0 for 3, and like it doesn't seem like that free throw range jumper is falling. Like we just don't have the type of team where, and he's not the type of player I think where you want to see him distributing as much as he has, or just like, I don't know, just kind of roaming as much as he has. And he's super effective when he doesn't score. It's just like you also want to see him score. You want to see him, I would say, pretty neck and neck with Tyler in terms of shot attempts on any given night. And usually I want to see it a little higher. But like when Tyler's playing like this, Tyler can do whatever he wants.
Pablo, tonight, offensively, let's talk a little bit about, we've given kind of the overview of the cast and characters for the night. Offensively, process-wise, how did you feel? We were in the group chat, and he was like, we just suck and just can't make shots. But did you feel a particular level of like comfort or confidence in the way in which the shots were coming and we just weren't hitting them? Or did you find yourself maybe having issues, period, with just how we were going about shots and maybe feeling like we were lucking up into open looks.
No, I think we were creating the right amount of space. Like I said before, the Hero Bam pick and roll was working wonders in the beginning. As Hero had 7 assists, and I think 5 of them were just to Bam. So like those two scored our first 18 out of 22 points off of open shots, open layups. They were getting to the basket, and then we were shooting like crap from 3 just because we couldn't hit them. But we were shooting open shots. We weren't forcing threes, and that's what I loved about the process. It looked smooth. It looked like we knew how to move the ball around. And
collectively 12 for 38 from 3. Kevin Love, beautiful looks, gave you 2 for 6. Duncan, 1 for 6. Jay Rich, who has been shooting well as of late, 1 for 4.
So like we're getting the looks, we're creating the looks, we just weren't hitting. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with I'm not okay with taking fadeaway threes when there's nothing on the like 10 seconds to the shot clock. That's bad offensive process. But if you're getting the open looks and they're not going in, they're eventually going to knock down. So the offense for me looked great today, and the defense was even better.
Was it? Tell me why. What did you like about the group defensively today?
I think the zone was good. I mean, outside of just Wemby being Wemby, like there's not much you can do about that. But they had him. The zone was doing its job. They were shooting threes and they weren't knocking down threes. They were forcing Vassell to take tough shots. They looked scrappy, and that's something we've been seeing lately. But throughout the whole year, we haven't seen something in that Heat team. We haven't seen the scrappiness. And today, there was a little bit of dog in them today.
Yeah. We went 12 for 38 from 3. They went 12 for 37. And even in that, I find myself, and this is just me, like, I'm like a defensive hard ass. Like, even those 12 that even though they missed 25, like, those 12 stressed me out. Because there have been, like, the corner threes that we've been, leaving open since Norman Powell kicked our ass in the Clippers game. Like, 2 Clippers games ago. But yeah, no, on the whole tonight and again over the last few games, the defensive activity and like the urgency on defense has felt, kind of night and day from where it was in the beginning of the season, Jack. They've been a lot more diligent in kind of doing their work before. Like a lot of their pre-rotations have been there and have been better. Lou Saucy Takes called it out last night in the Orlando game that our help at the nail has been much better and much more pronounced. And then I kind of piggyback off of that in that the help is everyone is kind of where they know the help will be needed earlier, like before it's needed, and then we're recovering out. We're not, out on a 3, then trying to like Matador Olay a dig with a guy that's already kind of got a full head of steam. Caleb had a really solid possession of it. I don't know who was beat off the dribble, kind of coming from the right side, going left, going middle. And whoever that they had beat, they pretty much had them on their hip, and they probably could have gotten a bit deeper in the paint. Caleb came and just showed himself, like very firm, like really pronounced, thwarted the whole dribble. I think Dude ended up taking a pull up. So just, their defensive energy and awareness has felt, like I said, kind of night and day from what it was. Has there been anything, we talked about kind of the lineup rotations. Have you noticed, Jack, anything specific defensively where you felt like it's led to what feels like Miami Heat defense, or has it, been as simple as an uptick in effort and energy?
Maybe I'm being a hard ass, but I would say I don't feel like it's Miami Heat defense yet.
I
still
agree.
think
Okay,
it's weaker than in past seasons.
Okay,
but I think what's good is I think K-Love, he's not the flashiest defender. He's not even like a good defender, but like he rotates really intelligently.
He's a smart defender. Exactly. Yeah.
He's a really smart defender, and he's a really he's a big body when they don't have many big bodies, and that's nice sometimes. And I think you saw some plays where it's like Wemby had them maybe in like a 2-on-1, like 2-on-3 kind of thing, like slow break, and he like passes it ahead to like Keldon Johnson or Vassell or whatever, and like Love has already been there for like 2 seconds at that point. Like he's anticipated it. He's done the good thing. He just gets the chest up on him. And I think to your point, like Caleb Martin's doing the exact same thing. Like it's been a very disciplined, like smart defensive game from Caleb Martin. I think all of these things, including kind of what we talked about earlier with like Jimmy trying harder on defense, which obviously just changes everything. And suddenly you like understand why Jimmy and Bam have been one of the most successful playoff duos in the NBA, is because when they're both doing their shit and they're on the floor together, it's really scary no matter who the other guys are. And when the other guys are even like passable, which I think like J Rich has been more disciplined, Caleb's been really good, K-Love has been doing his job, Tyler I think is Tyler, but I think he's been a lot better. I think he's really slipped definitely during that losing streak. I felt like where we had seen a lot of defensive improvement, he had been kind of a disaster, but like the whole team had, so you can't really like single him out. I think in general, like everybody's more disciplined, everybody's just more bought in. And kind of like you said, it's February, so it's like time to gear up. They don't want to be hovering around 500. They don't want to be a play-in team again. So like, it'll be interesting to see how this defense looks against, not like the worst team in the NBA, but like they have the Celtics coming to Miami. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle that, because, that's a good team and they really took them apart last time.
Okay, yeah, I agree. We're still in this and what's a pretty staunch gauntlet of games. Right? They have, like you said, what is it? It's Boston, Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly, and then we have the break, and you're coming right back. You got New Orleans, who's been playing, good ball, the Kings, and all of this. So, just now's the time. And Spo kind of alluded to it a little bit too about who was it that asked him about his rotations? Damn, I wish I remember who it was. It might have. Who are the locked on guys? Ramel and
Wes, right? I think
Wes Goldberg.
Wes. It might not have, but I think it was Wes. Just ask him about his rotations. And Spo was like, you can look at it one of two ways. Either, I forget what the second one was, because I was very much aligned with the first one in that, maybe it's a little unfortunate that we've had to Wes, who doesn't do his job, and post the Tyler Fitz. Yeah, shout out to whoever's on the Heat Beat account right now. We've been asking Wes to post the Tyler Fit from yesterday, because I don't know what he looked like yesterday, but apparently it was a hot topic.
Blue's Clues character.
Yeah, do your job, Wes Goldberg. We appreciate you, but be better. But Spo basically was like, you could look at it from this stance of, it's a little bit unfortunate that we've had to, kind of begin to get into what will probably be our playoff rotations still not early in the season, but probably a bit sooner than they would have liked. But for everything that's kind of gone on with this group, they've needed a little bit of a fire, a little bit of a kick in the ass, and it seems as if we're turning a corner, and that is my hope. We're gonna close out here shortly, but I really the lineups and just coming into what feels like this is how we're going to have to play basketball if we want to win and gain ground, which we're in. We have to be gaining ground right now. Like, I think we're tied with Orlando for 7th. There's nothing there's not really a lot of days off. Pablo, can you throw that graphic up for me really quick, and then we're going to head out. I just think this is from last game, and this is from PNB Stats. So Caleb, Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, Terry, that's who started the game. So when when Jimmy came out, Jaime is who ends up coming in for him. Jaime plays like kind of this whole stretch, and then you can see where kind of that hockey rotation pattern that Bam that Spo did last game happen. You had Caleb, Bam, Tyler, Terry, you know, 4 of them come out. You still have Jimmy and Jaime in, but now you have this whole fresh kind of battalion of Josh, Kevin, and Duncan. And Josh, Kevin, Duncan, Jaime, Jimmy probably want to play a little bit different than the Tyler Bam centered lineup, so that that lineup can, you know, Tyler Bam can do their pick and roll thing. And I just thought this is a really cool visualization of where there's been overlap, where there hasn't been. Um, that the first quarter you got, you know, no Jimmy Tyler overlap. It's probably for the best of both of their respective groups. Um, and then yeah, you know, I wanted to take a quick look at this, and like I said, fourth quarter, Jimmy has been starting fourth quarters as of late, whereas, you know, historically Jimmy would sit kind of into like the 8th to 6th minute mark, and I know people have had issues with that, like, hey, you know, let's get Jimmy in here sooner. And so yeah, as you can take it off. It's just, you know, the guys are doing what needs to be done. Spo is ratcheting up his things, and they're about to walk into, you know, a really kind of telling stretch of basketball. You know, are these things that are going to stick? Are these just, you know, doing good things against subpar teams?
We still don't have a
And
statement win.
still don't have a statement win. Let Twitter tell it, and I'm pretty sure that I agree because I can't recall it off the top. The Clippers game would have been, you know, a statement win. You know, Jack, going ahead and getting out of here. What is it that you hope to see most out of this Boston game? Kings was the best win, sure. Jack, what is it that you're hoping to see out of this nationally televised Boston game in 4 days? Oh, that's a good little break too. We have like a few days off.
Terry
That's
can
important.
practice.
Terry can practice.
That's
I mean, I
important.
just want to see good process.
Yeah.
I don't super care if they win or lose. I would love a win. Because I just don't know if they're going to shoot well, but like that's all fine and good. I want to see the rotations and like the zone and whatever they throw at them, like kind of hold up against a really, really good team that has a lot of size and that has a lot of different things to throw at you. And
Boston's got like functional size too. Like it's not just
really
size for
functional
the
size.
sake of being
Really
They got
functional
Tillman now.
size.
And it just got
And they got Tillman.
I
Yeah,
like him
that
too.
sucks. I like him too.
Yeah.
Same.
I texted G as soon as I saw that. I was like, I can't believe this. Yeah, I and offensively, I want to see them not look lost. Like I want to see them look like a team that conceivably, when the shots are falling, and when Jimmy's in playoff mode, and when everybody's doing their thing in the playoffs, that conceivably could compete with this Boston team. They don't need to win this one. They just need to like look like they can possibly do things against their defense. That's really what I want to see. Like I want to see Terry with 4 days rest kind of look like a new player within the offense, just in terms of like, I want him to look like he belongs a little bit more, which I think it's understandable why he hasn't always looked like that so far. I want to see Tyler continue to play smart. I want to see Bam like really go at some guys because we know Jimmy can do it. And I really want to see Bam kind of dominate some of this size because I think he can. They got really good functional size, and none of those matchups are easy, but Bam is the best player in either front court. So I want to see it.
Yeah. Pablo,
you were thinking about that. You were thinking about whether Bam was the best player in either front court.
I had to think of like listen, I am a Kristaps Porzingis fan. But yes, Bam is the best player of the front court. I do really like KP though. I wanted KP, and people told me
it would have been good
wouldn't
next
have
to
done
Bam.
anything. Just like I was told Larry Markkinen wouldn't have done anything. Gianni, anywho, Pablo, defensively, what is it that you want to see against Boston? And then give me what you want to see offensively, and we're gonna get out of here.
I want to see them bump bodies. I want to see them play defense with aggressiveness, like go after steals, be be scrappy. I want to see like at least the best defensive we've seen so far. I want to see them. I want to see be this game be like the best defensive showing we've had because it is Boston. They smacked us the last time we played by 30 at our house. So they should think about that and like and just go at them. I want to see. I don't know if I want to see too much of the zone since Boston shoots really good from three. I would like to see more of, let's say, hard hedging, switches, man to man. That's what I really want to see from the Heat. And then when it comes to offense, the same process from the past couple of games. I want to see Hero not take bad shots. I want to see him continue to take those open threes he's getting, to continue to play make, Bam to be aggressive, Jimmy to keep doing what he's doing, just be Jimmy, and like, and the rest of the team, they know their role and just we gotta hit shots. And if we can't hit shots, at least go to the paint and draw fouls.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't hit shots. Let's muddy this thing up. But I'm with the both of you guys. We are going to go ahead and get out of here. Pablo, the intern, I super appreciate you. Jack, always a pleasure. Those of you watching, we love you. We appreciate you. If you are watching on Twitch in the chat, it's always a great time. If you are watching the YouTube playback, that's a fantastic time. Also, we appreciate you. And if you are watching on the go in any of your podcast apps, we super love you. That's where the coin comes. Shout out to y'all. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I want to see all of those things also. And hopefully the next time we bring a post game to you, it's following a statement win.
Yep.
So we're gonna get out of here. Love you guys. Appreciate you.